Okay, guys, the Legendary Last Stand bundle is now live on PC. So let's talk about the extras that come in this bundle. And I'm going to go over a little bit on the ships, not go into super in-depth detail. For the ships, I'm going to do a video for each one and then do a overall opinion on this one. But let's get into the other stuff that has not been talked about yet. So yeah, we already know it comes with Legendary Nebula, it comes with Legendary Negvar, and Legendary Delenn Warbird, which frankly, of the three, I think the Delenn Warbird is the most interesting of them, just because it's a little different than the others. Like Legendary Negvar, we've already talked about how yeah, it's a good ship, but it's also basically a copy paste version of the Legendary Galaxy Dreadnought, which I think is kind of annoying. And then there's Legendary Nebula, which is actually getting a little bit of a buff since Miracle Worker is getting 2 unconventional systems triggers. So that's going to really help with that secondary Miracle Worker seat for this ship. But even with that buff, it still leaves the Legendary Nebula in kind of a weird place, because while it's not a bad science ship with this upcoming update to Miracle Worker, it's still left in this weird spot of that there's already another version of the Nebula that is superior to this version performance-wise, and that's going to be the Monitor, because even though the Monitor doesn't have a secondary deflector, it does have 2 hangar bays, which means that's 2 full hangar bays full of Type 7 shuttles, plus it's a full Miracle Worker ship, so not only is it going to benefit from those additional uncon triggers that are going to be coming with that update, but it's also got that extra console slot because it's a full Miracle Worker ship, whereas the Legendary Nebula is a temporal ship. So I just don't know how Legendary Nebula is going to be super appealing to people when the Monitor is already a superior and much more accessible option, being just a normal C-Store ship. Now, there is the traits that these ships come with. I haven't tested them out yet. Like I said, I'm going to be doing each ship individually, both the actual ships themselves and their starship traits. Nebula's trait, I've heard, is pretty decent, but it's not like quite as game-breaking as we hoped. So it's probably just going to be something that really only like the hardcore support players are probably going to want to go after, but the average player probably isn't going to need to feel pressure to go after it. Apparently, Legendary Negvar's trait in its current state is a huge letdown. I caught a little bit of Spencer's live stream, and yeah, he was saying that he was not impressed with the damage output this thing was doing. And then Legendary Delenn's trait, that one didn't really have any high expectations either, because it's already tied into the pilot maneuvers mechanic, so it's really going to be something that's only going to be useful on pilot ships. Anyway, enough talking about the ships. The whole point of this video was to talk about the extras that comes with it. So first off is it comes with a new costume called the Klingon Chancellor jacket, which this is based off of the costume that Chancellor Gorkon wears in Star Trek 6. So I've already got the costume here up on my Klingon character. I've done my best to recreate the color scheme on the costume. I'm not sure I got the red right. I used what did I use? I used A22 for the red, but I feel like this whole section of red here, I feel like this has just like a little bit too much orange into it, but none of these felt right either. So I'm not quite sure where on the color palette this is supposed to go. I really wish we could have gotten like an official listing of like what color palettes were used in the promotion pictures, but oh well. But yeah, based on the pictures, I used T6, A22, T6, and this one I didn't assign to anything, just because that 4th color doesn't seem to be assigned to anything on here, so it's really just the 3. But you got a good amount of customization on here, because like you say, you get those 3 colors there, which modify the outer layer of the jacket. The sleeves there, those are their own color, as well as the stripy bits along the chest of the jacket. And then there's the undershirt portion, that's its own color layer too. The shoulders, those are up there. Those have a few different color options. You got the full shoulders there, but then there's also that collar piece around the shoulders, which is kind of covered up by this hair. But yeah, that collar piece there, that's its own color layer. And then you have these like chains along the shoulders. Those are their own color option as well. And then you have the shoulder accessory, which is this giant medallion thing that Gorkon wore in the movie. And yeah, that has its own color options as well. Though they're a little limited. They kind of just range from green to yellowish green to gold to silver. And yeah, so it's not much there. But, you know, that's kind of be expected for this sort of thing. Now, those are the only new assets on this costume. Everything else here is from pre-existing assets. Like the gauntlets here are actually just the Klingon 2409 gauntlets, which I think are actually just based off of the Klingon uniform from the Next Generation. Yeah, I think these are the colors that they used in the promo picture. So we got F1, C11, and F1 again, and then the third color isn't linked to anything. I don't know why it's there. And then same with the other one. Then the belt is, I believe, Klingon 2. That's what it's called there. And then I used the same color options there. So E1, no, I used E1. I thought I used F1 for that. Okay, so I used E1 for that one. And then again, C12 for the belt buckle there. The boots are also pre-existing boots in the game. They used, what do they use? Klingon boot 1, which I used E1, E1, F2, and F2 for the color options there. Again, I'm not 100% sure I have these correct, so if I don't, I did my best. You do better if you want. And then the pants, you really just go with whatever pants you want because you can't even see them through the jacket. So I just went with the Klingon 2409 pants because you can just make them a dark color that'll kind of match jacket and the boots as well. But yeah, that's the costume. It looks pretty good. From what I remember in the movie, I haven't watched Star Trek 6 in a while, so I don't remember exactly how it looked, but it looks pretty solid here. I like it. If you're wanting to go for a more classic but regal looking Klingon character, this costume will probably be interesting to you. But in the end, it is just a costume, and buying a whole legendary bundle for just a costume probably seems a bit excessive to a lot of you because that's pretty expensive for just this kind of Space Barbie. One of the other bundle exclusives with this bundle is a melee weapon that has been long requested by some parts of the community, the Klingon tahg dagger, which is kind of interesting just because, I mean, again, this is something that's been in the game for a very long time. NPCs have been able to use this weapon since the game's launch, but this is the first time a player version of the tahg has been introduced. It's fairly basic as far as melee weapons go. You got the primary attack, which is sort of a light slashing attack, and then you've got a heavier striking attack with the secondary attack. The tertiary attack, though, is kind of interesting because what it is it's an execute stab. So when a target is at 25% health or less, it's basically an insta-kill on that target. Kind of neat, especially for a melee build. You're going to be kind of, slashing and stabbing at enemies, so you're going to be wearing down their health a little bit from time to time. So you get them down to that last little bit, you just throw out that execute strike. Though it should also be noted that it does not work on captain level enemies. Instead, they have to be at 5% health or lower. So it's not going to be great on like boss level enemies, anything above captain rank. But for clearing out mobs, this will be kind of interesting if you're into a melee build. But enough of me yakking. Let's just go look at it and see how it performs. Now, this isn't going to be a super accurate test of its true damage potential here. We're just kind of screwing around, seeing how it does in combat, see how it feels, basically. Not bad, really. I know Defira isn't exactly a great test of DPS potential, but I haven't even upgraded this thing to Mark 15. It's already doing a good job of chopping up these Borg. One thing about the tertiary attack that's worth noting is that even though it's meant to be like that insta-kill execute when an enemy is at a certain health point, it is still capable of applying a control effect. It'll still throw enemies past you, so it's still kind of useful even if you don't have enemies down to a lower health point. But yeah, you can see that right there. Yeah, so it's still kind of useful even if enemies still don't have aren't down to that 25% that you need them to be at to insta-kill them. And not a bad melee weapon as far as melee weapons go. If you've got a melee build set up, this might be fun for you. But, there are plenty of other melee weapons. I don't feel like this is going to differentiate itself significantly from other melee weapons to make players want to be like, oh yeah, I need that. Really, the only people wanting this are just, the are the people who are like super into the Klingon aesthetic stuff. You just want to get one more option for a Klingon weapon to use from time to time. But I mean, there's a number of different Klingon weapons already in the game. There's like 3 or 4 different types of batleth. So yeah, you got options. So not something I would be like going out of my way to get, but it's an amusement is what it is. That's kind of what it is, and that's kind of the theme with a lot of these bundle exclusive extra stuff. Now, the last exclusive bit for this bundle is an interesting choice, especially given that the first two items were both very Klingon based. But this third option is the El-Aurian energy pistol, which you may recognize as the energy weapon that Doctors Tully and Soren used in Star Trek Generations. Mark 12. There we go. But yeah, it's Soren's gun, the one that he used while fighting Captain Kirk and Captain Picard on Veridian 3. And yeah, it's a notable gun. I mean, it's an interesting gun, fairly infamous in Star Trek in my opinion. But yeah, let's get a look at see how this thing looks. Okay, that's cool. It does include the fairly iconic animation that Soren's gun has. I know they showed it off on the live stream, but we didn't really get a good look at it. That's kind of cool. Looks like it'll just stay in that bent over look as long as you're in red alert. So because this thing relies on rapidly shooting things multiple times, it's not going to be great against the Borg. They're going to adapt to this thing pretty quickly. But this thing does have some unique mechanics with it. The primary attack, the more you spam it, it'll create an AoE effect eventually that will hit multiple targets, which is kind of neat for clearing out, small mobs of enemies in certain TFOs. But you saw the secondary attack before, which is a much bigger sweeping strike that shoots out multiple bolts at multiple enemies at once. So really, really nice for crowd control on this thing, which is really cool. The bolts move kind of slow in my opinion, though. That might be something that is going to concern some of you. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not doing like a full-fledged damage. I'm not doing a full-fledged DPS test on this thing. We're just kind of seeing how this thing vibes in just, general mindless combat. Like I said, because this thing relies on such rapid fire thinking, you're going to be having to adapt a lot to this thing. But that's what remodulators are for. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, so honestly, I'm kind of liking this gun, but I just feel like it's kind of a weird missed opportunity given that, you got a Klingon costume, Klingon knife, but then an El-Aurian pistol. We still don't have a screen-accurate version of the Klingon Disruptor from, like, any of the shows or movies. Like, there's, like, the base-level version of the Klingon Disruptor that's just, like, part of the base-level weapons that you get just, through vendors and episode rewards and stuff like that. But those are, like, very old meshes that were loosely based off of the Disruptors from the shows and movies, but are very much Stowe original designs. So it would have been cool to get, like, a show or movie accurate version of at least one of the Klingon Disruptors, and feels like a bit of a missed opportunity given how the heavy Klingon themed behind the other two items. So it just kind of, I don't know, it just feels like a random choice at that point. Like, seriously, the El-Aurian weapon deals phaser damage too, which is a damage type more commonly associated with the Federation. But, it's, with all the other Klingon stuff, you would think they would at least make it do disruptor damage, but nope, it's a phaser. Which at that point, I guess you could present the argument of, well, it's not a Klingon bundle because it comes with a Klingon ship, a Federation ship, and a Romulan ship. But then where's the Romulan item for the extra bundle stuff? Because we got two Klingon items and a very loosely affiliated Federation thing, which is, I don't know if you'd want to associate this with the Federation being the sort of the gun that almost killed Captain Kirk. Technically, the bridge killed Captain Kirk, but this didn't help. But yeah, it's just like what I don't know. It just feels a little imbalanced in the theming there. Now, aside from those three items, there's also some other stuff to fill out the rest of the bundle, and that is it also comes with 5 master keys, 2 ship slots, 3 tech upgrades, 3 ship upgrades, and a 100% off ship coupon, which doesn't seem like enough extra padding to warrant the price of this bundle, because for 3 legendary ships, a costume, a melee weapon, and a phaser pistol, all of which are very gimmick focused, this bundle is over $100. I mean, at the introductory discount, it is 10,125 Zen, which is a bit over $100. At full price, it'll be 13,500 Zen, which is, it's a lot of money. And for all that money, they can't even give you enough ship slots to account for every ship in the bundle. Like, seriously, I thought this was a typo when I first saw it. 2 ship slots? That's ridiculous. There's 3 ships in the bundle, plus a 4th if you count the 100% off coupon. So the very least they could do is make sure you have enough ship slots for every ship in here on at least one character. So only throwing in 2 ship slots, that's ridiculous. The tech upgrades, who gives a crap? They give away tech upgrades all the time. But the ship upgrades, that's another letdown, because with only 3 of them, you're only going to be able to get all 3 of them up to tier 6X1, or you can get one of those ships up to tier 6X2. Again, you're paying over $100 for this bundle, and you're expected to only tier 6X to one of them, or just tier 6X1, all 3 of them. And that still doesn't leave one if you decide to use your 100% ship coupon. So it feels like you're being left a little light here. So that's yeah, I'm not super happy about that. They should at least bump this up to 4 ship slots, so you have enough ship slots for each ship in the bundle, and then up this up to 9 ship upgrades, so you can at least upgrade the 3 new ships up to tier 6X2. Also, there's some weirdness with the master keys this thing comes with, because it came with these promotional master keys, which are like common quality, but it also came with regular master keys that are just bound to my character. But the really weird part is that when I first opened this, I had 4 of these and 1 of these, but now it's 3 and 2. I don't think it really affects anything. It's just weird. Like, not just that they're split into 2 different types of keys, but also that it changed. Like, I swear, I had 4 of these and 1 of these like a couple of hours ago, and now it's 3 and 2. I think my keys are haunted, guys. Anyway, it's only 5 master keys. They're both bound to my character, so let's open up some boxes. See if I get lucky. Oh. What? Okay, so those aren't working. Oh, that's not good at all. Oh, that's why. Okay, apparently you have to actually, like, use... That's weird. You have to, like, press use on the promotional keys. That's weird. Okay, let's finish that off. And what'd I get? Oh, I got Dalrel. That's nice. No ship, but that's a decent duty officer right there. Now, overall with this bundle, like, obviously I haven't gone into a super amount of detail on the individual ships themselves, but so far, I'm not overly impressed with everything here, especially for the price tag that we're getting. Really, the additional items, I feel like we're getting kind of shortchanged on the ship slots and the ship upgrades. The additional items like the ground weapons, the costume, they're all right, but they're going to be very dependent on just what you're into. I doubt a lot of people are going to be, you know, foaming at the mouth for Soren's phaser pistol here. The tahg, I feel like there's going to be a few people who are interested in this, but at the same time, a lot of them are going to be disappointed that this is bound to this is going to be exclusively bound to a $100 bundle here. That's with the discount. So I feel like a lot of people are going to be bummed about having to spend so much for something so trivial here, because it's a ground weapon, it's a melee weapon. There's nothing super unique about it. It's another melee weapon that we haven't seen before. It's a slightly different, but it's still going to mostly function the same as every other melee weapon in the game. And of course, then there's the costume. It looks neat, but I mean, there's a bunch of other costumes there. I don't know. This is the one's definitely going to be up to personal taste here. So, but overall, we've got 3 ships. Just like looking at them at their initial glance is like, Delen's decent. Negvar, I mean, Negvar's a good ship. It's a shame that it's basically identical to another ship, which is cheaper, because I mean, you got to remember that the legendary Galaxy Dreadnought is available in the Mirror Universe bundle, which that bundle is way less expensive than this thing. The Mirror Universe bundle, which that's the bundle that the legendary Galaxy Dreadnought comes in, is only 6,000 Zen. That's twice the cost of a normal tier 6 ship, which is still kind of high, but that's the base cost. You could still get this on sale. And on top of that, it comes with a bunch of different items in it too. It comes with a bunch of Mirror Universe costumes. It gives you access to the ISS prefix for the names. It also comes with unique ground weapons. I forget what these were called, but they're the phaser weapons that the Mirror Universe version of Vic Fontaine used. There's the Agony phaser, energy torpedo, and the Rottweiler ground non-combat pet, and it's just like this one comes with a bunch of more, not only more thematically appropriate stuff, but stuff that people might actually use because, like, well, okay, maybe I guess it's still just as subjective because like it's a generic ground weapon, a gimmicky torpedo, which energy torpedoes really aren't that great because of their long cooldowns, and a non-combat pet. But at the very least, you're only spending $60 at full price rather than over $100 while it's still on sale. I guess that's the big issue here is that you can throw as much stuff as you want into these bundles and you could call it, yeah, it's worth the price of it, when you add it all together, but you still got to think about the fact that when you add it all together, it's still going to be, a pretty hefty price, and not everyone's going to want to drop over $100 on some pretty mid ships and gear. Now, people might be willing to drop a smaller amount of money on one, maybe two fairly mid ship or gear, but you bundle all these things together, and it the price adds up, and it's, I don't know, I think I'm just getting it to the point where it's like these bundles are so hit and miss with so many things, and it's just like, yeah, if you sold these ships individually, yeah, I'd probably grab one of the ones I want, but you bundle it all together, and it's just like I feel so forced into getting all the stuff, and it feels like I'm spending more money on stuff I don't actually want, and it's just like, ugh, I don't know. It's just, I'm tired of big bundles. I think that's my thing. That's why I like the Mirror Universe bundle. It comes with one legendary ship and thematically appropriate items that go with it. I like that setup. But then you keep doing things like this where you throw in more stuff, make the bundles bigger, and more expensive. I'm just spending more money on more stuff that I don't want just for the sake of getting one or two things that I do want. Or rather in this case, I'm really just spending the money for the sake of content because, new ships, got to make videos somehow. But yeah, it's just, I would prefer going over to the logic of smaller bundles, smaller, more affordable bundles than making things, bigger and more expensive, filled with more stuff, and then still being a letdown with, the weird gimmicks, the subjective elements of it, of like, because like, again, the costume looks great. It's just, it's going to be up to personal taste there. The tahg is interesting, but who wants to spend $100 just to get a melee weapon? And same with the pistol. It looks cool. It's got the cool animation on it that's kind of iconic for Star Trek Generations. But not only is it kind of like, niche, kind of gimmicky, but at the same time, it also feels kind of out there in terms of theme, because it kind of just, it doesn't fit in with the rest of it. And I've said it already, but I'm going to say it again. And then you get shortchanged on the other additional consumables, which, I'm just going to stop ranting about this because I feel like you guys have gotten the point. The bundle is okay, but I feel like it's kind of expensive for what you're getting here. Now, one thing I should mention that to Deca's credit, they did say they are still looking for feedback on this bundle, on the ships, on the additional items it comes with, on the other consumables that it comes with. So, I mean, if you guys are frustrated with any of this stuff, go to the Discord, go to the Stow Reddit, go to Twitter's less of a not really a great place to discuss that stuff. It's more just screaming and yelling because that's Twitter. But go to the Discord or go to the Stow Reddit, because they are looking at those places. They are looking for feedback. So go over there and tell them what you think should have been done with this. I don't know if anything will change with this particular bundle, but maybe it'll help affect the next one down the road. Okay, now let's stop talking about the bundle and talk about the real star of this release that came out today, the Moopsy. So I bought out the event mostly just to see like how this thing was being released, because with the blog yesterday, there was a bit of confusion in how this thing was being released, because they called it both a combat pet and a kit module, and I can now confirm it's not a kit module, it's a combat pet. So it works just like any other combat pet. You summon it, and it'll follow you around and attack stuff, and just look at this thing. It's it's the Moopsy, you guys. I am obsessed with this right now. It is so... It's just this fluffy little ball of weirdo. I really like the passive animations on this thing. It'll sit here, it'll kind of loaf around, it'll do a bunch of other stuff while it sits here. Yep, see, there it goes. It yawned. Yeah, it'll do stuff like that while it's sitting there in a passive mode. And that stuff right there makes me really wish they included a non-combat pet with this as well. But no, it's just the combat pet. which I guess is fine. That's something a lot of us have been begging for ages now. It's just I wish they had also taken the step to include a non-combat version as well, because yeah, the combat version does sit here, but only for a certain amount of time. After I'm not sure how long the time is, but after several minutes, this will eventually despawn. Whereas a non-combat pet, once you spawn those, they just kind of hang around until you despawn them or change maps. Okay, let's get a look at this thing actually fighting some stuff, because it's actually really funny. So as the blog stated, the way this thing will attack things is that it will go up to enemies and it will attack them, and it'll drink their bones. It'll actually drink their bones. Like that, God, that makes me laugh every time. But yeah, that's not the only attack that it has. It'll also do that. What it just did right there. They call it the Moopsy charm, which will it's an AOE confuse. It'll cause enemies to attack each other, which I think they did like in place of like Borticus talked about this on the live stream, how Star Trek Online's engine doesn't really have any really great way of using fear mechanics, so they couldn't really make enemies run away from the Moopsy. But given that it's a melee pet, that's kind of a good thing. I would rather things not run away from it, otherwise it wouldn't be able to do as much stuff. Yeah, there it goes again. Now with the bone drinking, there are some limitations with that. Mainly that one, it only works on humanoid enemies, so like it's working here on the board, but they're not going to be able to do that against like the Zenkethi or species A472. It's only going to work on humanoid enemies just because of animation reasons. Also, while it basically serves as like an instant kill against lower level enemies, anything that is captain rank or higher, it won't be able to do that on. It won't be able to do the bone eating thing on anything captain or higher, unless it's at like 25% health or less. God, watching this thing running around is just absolutely hilarious. I'm kind of obsessed with it. See, it runs around a lot. Like, look at this thing. It's just going to town on the board here. But you also got to keep in mind that here with this is Defera. The level cap here isn't exactly that high, so it's doing a pretty good job here. But on higher level difficulties, I've seen it tends to die a bit quickly. Like, I kind of wish they would implement ways for it to, to improve its survivability. Like, I suppose you could actually heal it yourself, which is doable. Like, I could throw down a medical generator or something like that, but, I don't want to. I'd rather it just, do better on its own. Oh, I forgot I had this equipped. Okay, now I'm a zombie. Here, let's... Yeah, one of the nice things about the Moopsy is that it has a pretty long uptime. Like, it'll stay up well past that 2-minute cooldown it normally has. So as long as you can keep it alive, you'll be able to, it'll be able to keep running around and drinking bones of all your enemies. Assuming it'll keep up with you, which that's the other downside with the Moopsy. Very slow, which that is accurate to the show. It's just, it would be nice if it would be able to keep up with you a little bit easier. Oh, one more. There we go. That is never going to get old. Yeah, so far, the Moopsy pet, it's certainly amusing. I wish it could get a little bit of a buff in survivability and some other aspects, but God, this is the funniest thing since they introduced Badgie, I swear. Yeah, like I said, my only other gripe about this is that I wish they had introduced a non-combat version too, just to, hang around and have it sit around next to you with in social zones and whatever. During the live stream earlier today, or today being the release day of this bundle, which will technically be yesterday by the time this video is up, but one thing they said on the live stream is that there were other things that they wanted to implement with the Moopsy, but they just weren't able to due to the limitations of it being a combat pet and just time and other stuff like that. So they did say that they are wanting to do other release stuff with other like Moopsy type stuff potentially. So we might get that non-combat pet sometime in the future, hopefully, or maybe some other thing involving a Moopsy. Personally, I'm hoping that we might get some sort of a kit module. I know there was a whole mix-up with there possibly being a kit module with the with the typos in the blog, but I feel like there's if they've got other stuff that they wanted to work in with the Moopsy, maybe we could potentially get a kit module based off of the Moopsy as well. Because I mean, I'm all for more Moopsy content. Like, just give me more. I'm ready for it. In fact, actually, that was one thing they talked about on the live stream. We already know that we are getting more Moopsy content in one way or another, because they did say that something Moopsy themed or related is going to be arriving in the winter event this year, which definitely has me curious, especially because we've already got 2 Moopsy sweaters in the that are available from the winter event currently. So it makes me wondering, are they doing another ugly sweater or that's Moopsy themed, or are they releasing something else that is Moopsy themed through the winter event? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I think I've rambled on enough for this video. I need to get to work on actually doing individual reviews for each of the new ships instead of just rambling about the bundle as a whole. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. And while you're down there, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you'd like to further support the channel, hit that join button to become a member. Check out the affiliate links down below in the pinned comment. Check out the merch store down below. If you're ever shopping on the Epic Game Store, be sure to use my content creator code STU1701. Any of these really help me out, and I really do appreciate it. Either way, though, thank you so much for watching. My name's Stu, and I will see you guys next time.